today's guest is so special. She is not only the co-host of the Skinny Confidential Him and Her podcast and the founder of several other successful businesses that we are going to go into, but she's also the reason that I'm sitting here today. Lauryn launched her blog 14 years ago and was one of the OGs in the space. I love how obsessed she is with personal development and growth, and I just cannot wait to get into today's episode. We are going to discuss wellness, time management, her entrepreneurial journey, and she just has the best life hacks and tips. So welcome.
Thank you for having me. What an intro.
What an intro.
But it's like you've done this for years.
I mean, I wouldn't go that far. I feel like I just fumbled that a lot. But thank you so much for doing this. And thank you for basically bringing this to my life.
Well, what happened is that you came on our podcast. And sometimes you don't know what you're going to get, right? Someone can be great on Instagram story in a minute or a TikTok for 3 minutes, but you don't know what you're going to get in long form content. And I was blown away. I mean, normally we interview people for like 40 minutes. I think ours was like an hour and a half.
Yeah, I think I was in the office 2 hours.
Yeah, because it was so good and you were so good on a mic. And I just think with everything you're doing, it's crazy for you not to have a podcast.
Well, thank you so much. I'm so grateful. And I'm so excited about this because when I was on your podcast, I said to you and Michael, how did it all start? I mean, you had to start somewhere. And Michael said, well, we started on our dining table. So before we get into that, because I know that you did start your podcast around the dining table, but you were blogging before this. And you were the one, like 14 years ago. That is crazy.
It's absolutely nuts. And this is why I think everyone just needs to be really patient. Because people will tell me, oh my God, it's been 2 years and I haven't made any money. And I'm like, it takes time.
Yeah.
If you're in this for a year and you're making money, like you're doing great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I started this. I was bartending. I was going to San Diego State University. I was bored out of my fucking mind. And I had this calling inside of me. And I didn't know it at the time, but looking back, it was like this deep, visceral calling where I was always sort of bored with things, meaning I was bored with school. I was bored with college. And what it was is that I wanted to create my own thing. I wanted to create something from scratch. And this is before blogging even started. So I joined a sorority, as one does in college.
Okay.
And the first day I joined, they said it's $800. And keep in mind, I am...
What, just to join?
Just to join.
And so we don't have sororities.
Oh, lucky you.
In the UK, it's not a thing, is it? No.
Huge in the United States.
So can you just explain what a sorority is?
I am not the person to explain
like
what
a club.
Listen, anyone who's in a sorority, like that's great. It just was not it's not my personality. It's basically like a bunch of, it's a bunch of girls that get together and sort of make a community and you pay to be in it.
Do you live in the same house? I'm just having American Pie visions. You know, when they live in the same house.
Yeah, it's kind of like American Pie.
Okay.
And I couldn't believe it was $800. I was like, I'm literally busting my ass at night to make, not a lot of money. And now I have to pay to have friends. I was like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not like a big sleepover kind of girl. It's just not my personality. So anyway, I said, how can I do this, but do it online and do it for free and connect people for free from the comfort of their own home? And at the time, everyone who was blogging was sharing what nail polish color they were wearing, what outfit they were wearing, what shoes they were wearing. And I was like, that's going to get boring after a while. Like, how many times can I talk about myself? I need to make this bigger than me. And so I sort of made it as an online resource. Like, it was what other people were doing.
Yeah.
But also it had my tips and tricks mixed in. And that's kind of how the essence of the Skinny Confidential launched, which was a blog before Instagram.
And you were focused on the community side of things, not just, me. It was more about connecting others and sharing tips with others and somehow making friends through that avenue.
Yes, I think that I was not focused on money at all. Even though I was so broke, I knew money would come.
Yeah.
I knew that if I did the work and put the value out there and cultivated a community, that the money would follow. The money was never what the
main focus.
No, it just wasn't. And I
noticed
noticed
a byproduct.
Now, don't you notice that when people talk to you, they're like, how do you make money? Like that wasn't on my list yet.
Yeah. And I also think it translates. So you can see when someone is chasing the paycheck, or, you know, you can feel that as the customer, or you can feel if it's done with like a lot of heart and soul. So yeah, you feel the intention behind it, I think.
It all comes down to intention. It's like if you're just creating content with the intention of monetization, you're right, people can smell it. And I don't even think it was a strategy looking back. It just was like, I knew I didn't plan on making money for 3 years. So what I did is I supplemented the money by bartending. And
so you did that in the evenings, and then your blog just as and when you could fit it in around college.
I was bartending from 4 o'clock to probably 11:30 midnight, about 5 nights a week. I would wake up, I would teach Pure Bar. I would go to
No way.
Yes, I taught Pure Bar for 3 years. I was making $20 a class.
Oh my God, I never knew this.
Like living at my godparents'
You
house.
should be on my app.
No.
We'll do a bar series.
No.
I
I don't think my voice is relaxing as yours. And then I would go to school and I would come home. I would shoot the pictures in natural light because, as you know, that's prettier.
Yeah.
And then I would upload the photos. I would write a blog post. I would go to work and I would sit in the bathroom and take like 12 bathroom breaks to post on like Facebook and like Twitter. Like I would post on the platforms.
So you knew the power of social media even then, and you were really like structured with your time even then.
I knew the power, and I think something that I have a nose for is I knew something would hit before it hit, meaning like I was a bartender to all these like older men that were very wealthy. It was a very wealthy bar, and they would all go without their wives, and it was like a boys' club. And they didn't understand what I was doing. And when that happened, I knew I was onto something. I knew that it was disruptive.
Yeah.
So that's why I had a nose for it.
So yeah, because I feel now you do things to disrupt in like the most positive way. So your product launches are just huge. I can't wait to get into all the products, but I mean, you're disruptive and unique and not following the crowd. So you've always kind of had that in you.
Yeah, I think from a very young age, I loved.
Where did that come from?
The boss.
Yeah. I mean,
my dad tells me that I had the whole cul-de-sac like in my garage sitting down watching me teach, and there was like older, like the older kids were sitting down. Like I like to be bossy.
In charge. Yeah. Being bossy is the best. Where do you think that came from? How was your childhood?
I think my parents did a really good job of creating a non-judgmental household. Like my household was very much like, do whatever you want to do, but do it the best.
Yeah.
And my dad was an entrepreneur, so I sort of had that.
Okay.
And my mom was very detail oriented. So I think the mixture of that, and then, you know, really being someone who likes to lead. I definitely like to lead. I'm an older sister. I'm firstborn. It's just like a lot of mixture. And then my favorite thing to do when I was little was scrapbook. And I'm essentially doing that now. I'm scrapbooking online.
Yeah. So you've kept that going.
It's like a medley of it. And I think the same with what you do. If you look back, you sort of picked all the little pieces and put them together to create your career.
Totally. And I mean, like when you talk about scrapbooking, I can relate because my favorite teacher in school was the one that just wrote for an hour. He just wrote on the board and made you copy what he was writing. And I loved writing. He was my favorite teacher because he didn't say a word. He just wrote. So he just said, right, just follow along and write what I'm writing. And I just loved that class. So it's funny now that I find it so therapeutic every day, just writing, and I like live in my journal. And you're the same with the scrapbooking.
Isn't that funny how the things that you loved the most in childhood really pull through that make successful people successful?
Yeah, because I think it's part of your true essence, isn't it? It's in you. And it's your strength, and it's what's natural to you. And if something's natural to you, you can go and go and go, and you just thrive.
It's the trick to being successful. I think a takeaway is that you have to sit down and you have to look at what you liked to do when you were little for free. And it could be something so stupid like embroidery.
Yeah.
But look at it and see how you can pull it through to make sense to when you're an adult.
Like finding some kind of link to that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it could be something like weird. Like maybe whenever your dad pulled out the video camera, you pushed everyone out of the way, like me. Or you're like the WB frog. Like, I don't know what your thing is, but like look back on those times where you felt really free and liberated when you were really little and tap into that and pull it through now.
Yeah. And how would you, I mean, we're lucky in that we have our own businesses and we're able to really kind of pursue that. But if someone is employed, how can they bring that into their life in another way, would you say?
My advice is so controversial compared to what a lot of people say. So a lot of people would tell you to taste different things and go intern and try different shoes on and try different jobs. I completely disagree with that. If this were me right now, I would be having a service industry job at night. I would not think about that as my passion. I would think about the way I monetize. So say you're a hostess, a bartender, a waitress at night.
Yeah.
And I would spend the entire day focused on what I like.
Yeah. So almost a job where when you leave the job, you've left the job.
And the job
you don't have to take it
the
home.
Passion.
Yeah. Exactly. So you do, and then you're able to do that in the day or vice versa.
It's freedom. It's freedom of your day. It's having autonomy over doing what you want during the day so you can feel like you're progressing towards what you love, and then making the nighttime service industry your social time, right?
Yeah.
I checked my social box. I'm good. I don't need to socialize. You're making it a community time because you're around I was around all my friends who were servers.
Yeah.
You're learning to multitask. So I remember making drinks as I'm bringing things in, as I'm taking food out. Like you're also learning. I mean, I learned like
key
etiquette.
Skills. Yeah.
It's just
social skills. And you're habit stacking even then.
And you can go in the bathroom and post your content.
Yeah. I remember that was such a thing in work that when you hated your job, you were just like constantly going to the bathroom. You strike me as the most disciplined person.
I don't know about that.
You're very structured and very disciplined. So tell me, I mean, there's this conversation at the moment, I feel like, that's about motivation. How do you stay motivated? And the common answer is it's not about the motivation, it's about discipline. But how do you bring discipline to your everyday?
I think you articulated it really well on our podcast. I really think that you did a beautiful job of talking about being motivated and how you sort of changed your life. Discipline is a really important part of the equation in being successful. But I would also say that, to caveat that there needs to be the other end of the spectrum. So while I am very disciplined, within my calendar is space to not be disciplined.
But it's almost like scheduled.
Yes.
It's non-disciplined time.
Yeah, it is scheduled non-disciplined time. Like I know, after I've worked out and cold plunge and sauna'd on a Sunday, that I want to sit in my bed and watch
and have
Summer House.
No plans.
Yeah.
Like plan to have no plans.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than a free weekend with nothing going on.
With no parties and no like birthdays and just no plans. I really am very purposeful about having space on my calendar. So I think that gives me the motivation to be disciplined. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. I've recently become so into people's structures and time management. And I was actually talking to Mariana when I did an event with her last week about her scheduling, because she has so many different things going on. And I wanted to ask you, she was telling me that, for example, on Wednesday is her office day for Summer Fridays. Tuesday is her podcasting day. So she's a big time batcher. How do you structure everything? Because, I mean, we're going to get into it, but you just have so many, what's that phrase? Spinning plates, flying and spinning plates. How do you structure your time?
So I really think about the flow of the week. If I'm coming off a weekend and my whole team is coming off a weekend, I know that the whole team is going to be hitting it hard at 9:00 on Monday.
Okay.
So if they're going to hit it hard on Monday, I need to be ready to be...
You're like passing them the ball to go for it.
Or they're passing me the ball, so I need to be able to catch it.
Okay.
So I'm not going to schedule podcasts on a Monday in Austin because I need to be answering questions, getting them what they need to do so they can go execute. So Monday to me, I look at as I wake up, I do my routine, I go do my workout, and there's a lot of space that day.
Okay.
Because I'm helping the team get organized and give them what they need so I can go off the rest of the week. So I look at it as a day that's internal, but it's also a very reactive day to what everyone needs. So I can, you're right, throw the ball, but then they can throw it back and I can throw it back. So Monday is like a pretty mellow day for me in the sense that I don't have a lot on my calendar.
Yeah.
Tuesday is usually podcasts. And every single podcast that I do, I get my hair and makeup done. And I don't just do that because I like having hair and makeup. I do it because it's an hour and a half of uninterrupted calls. And there's probably 10 calls. Like it's back to back to back to back to back to back to back.
I have to say, and I was just saying this to the girls, I'm so impressed being here. There is a work ethic like none other in this office. And I feel like it's filtered from you guys. Like you are all so on it. Like you feel that, don't you, Sarah? When you come into the office, it's like, wow, these guys are on it.
That's so nice.
In London,
I can't take
like
credit for
chaos.
this team. The team here is like very like-minded. Michael runs the Dear Media team, but I do think that the people he hires here do just innately have that trait. I don't think it has to do anything with me. I think it's the energy here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you're doing 10 calls in an hour and a half, that is the most productive blow dry ever.
But here's the thing. The way I look at it is if I can squeeze 10 calls in an hour and a half, I get to be with my kids more. I get to be more present. I can execute more content. Like the calls, some are 10 minutes, some are 15 minutes. And it's like militant the way it's scheduled because I always say, Jocko says discipline equals freedom. If I can get those calls done in an hour and a half or 2 hours, it gives me so much freedom.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Completely. It's almost like the structure actually gives you then the downtime and the freedom.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at my whole life. So when people are like, you're so disciplined, I'm disciplined to get to the other side so I can have autonomy and freedom.
Yeah, totally. And then when you're off, you can really you've planned to be off.
It's off. Wednesday, I look at it like in the office, shooting content, organizing social media. As you know, it's like crazy, especially when you have a lot of content to organize.
How many channels do you have?
I don't even know, but I have the same as you. The same as you.
No.
Yeah, podcast.
No, but you have, for example, you have the Skinny Confidential Instagram.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes, but I have a team. And I think that's really important to talk about. I am not an octopus. I'm not trying to do everything. I have an incredible team that I've built over 14 years. I didn't start out like that.
Tell me about your team, like really go into detail, because I think it is so important to say, obviously you have so much help, but what is the help that takes you to the next level. So what was your first hire, for example? So you and Michael obviously were doing the podcast on the dining room table.
That's wild. Me and Michael were doing it on the dining room table.
That sounds like something else.
It was wild. Oh my gosh, with him.
We're doing it on the dining room table.
And he didn't know about like the art of not interrupting yet. Woo. It was rough.
I need to listen to the first episode.
Please don't. The first hire, I think, in any business should be an assistant that is a psychopath about your time. I think that the assistant is so important because the assistant gives you freedom. And I think the assistant should understand that they're there to make your life easier, not give you more things to do. Does that make sense? Like Katie is so incredible because she knows how many calls to book during my glam. She knows there's certain days I don't want calls. She knows when I go on a trip like this and I go back that I need space that week to be with my children
to
because
decompress.
It's like she knows the flow. There's seasons. She knows when I have a launch of a product that don't pack my schedule because I need to focus. Like she just knows. Yeah. So having someone who knows you that's running your calendar is the number one hire, I think.
Yeah.
And then as far as building the team, I think it depends what you're doing. But for product specifically, you need an operations and logistics if you're going to be shipping things.
Yeah.
That's important. You need someone who's helping with social media. They got to have an eye, taste, aesthetic. That's important.
When you're hiring, did you ever, like in the interview process, how did you know they had the eye? Did you like set them a task or something how did you know that someone just got it?
This is a great question.
I feel like I'm asking these questions selfishly because I'm like,
no, I think this is great. And these are the questions that I would have been asking, like, not that you just started, but these are the questions that I'd be asking 5 years in. Like, these are good questions, I think, for anyone who's just starting a business too. The thing that I like is I actually don't care if you're creative. I care about two things. Are you resourceful and do you know how to figure it out? I can't when people bring me a problem. What's the solution?
Yeah.
I'm doing so many things. What's the solution? And then I also think it's really important to find someone who knows how to read the room. And Ariel, who's with us right here, she's been working with me for 8 years. She knows how to read the room. So if she's taking photos of me and a guest and she can tell the guest isn't comfortable with something, she'll maneuver it to make them comfortable, or she'll take the photos quicker.
That's so nice.
It's just, you have to have someone that knows how to read the room. And also, and this is the biggest one, feedback. They have to be able to take feedback.
And not take it personally and just keep it moving.
And honestly, I give radical candid feedback. Like, it's like to the point, I'm voice noting. There's no fluffer. It's like, and I don't even mean it to be mean. I'm voice noting. I'm like, hey, I just want to let you know that the post that you just put up, I think that we have to change the caption because I don't like how you use negative words. Yeah. Like that's
and also then you get straight to it. And then so for the next time, okay, have I done this? And it's better for everyone.
So when I hired my social media girl, she was super new. Sophia, she was very, very new. And during our first sale, she posted a bunch of graphics. And immediately I got on the phone with her and I was like, I don't want to be a graphic brand. I want you to educate the consumer of how to use something. I want to show flat lays. I want to show it seamlessly throughout their day. I need user-generated content. And she took all the feedback. And now if you look at our Instagram story, she's completely evolved her job because she's been able to take feedback
along the way and tweak it and perfect. And then it's like a seamless exercise.
There's nothing worse than a team member that cannot take feedback. It's really hard to work with because they take it personally.
And the time you spend kind of like all like tiptoeing around, it's like, guys, come on, let's just get to it straight away.
And it's not mean. It's like, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just trying to say,
this is how it should. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So talking of the product, so you obviously created the most incredible podcast with Michael and then launched Dear Media. And at what point did you go into the products? Because I am obsessed with the ice roller. I mean, all of the products. I think I have all of your products now, although I'm really excited about the latest one. The sun cream.
I love that.
So
sun cream.
Good.
That is so cute. I wish
Wait,
I
what
called
do you
it
call
that.
it?
No, keep calling it that. That's
sun
so
cream.
Cute.
What do you call it?
We call it sunscreen.
Oh, sunscreen.
No, I like sun cream.
Sun cream.
I like that way better.
Sun
I'm
cream.
rebranding the next bottle.
Sun cream.
So chic. Sun cream.
The sun cream is so good. The tint is the perfect tint. It's just beyond. And actually, when you sent it to me, my boyfriend used it as well, and it worked on his skin, my skin, and it was so, so good. So obviously, you now have these kind of cult products that everyone becomes obsessed with. I think you've done it so well that you launch a product, people are obsessed with that one product. You give it space, you then launch another product. The people that were obsessed with the last one then have trust in you, buy the next one, and they're equally as obsessed.
Look at you. You
So,
are.
I'm seeing what you're doing.
What? She's smart. No, I like it. You know what I like about you? You pay attention. You have a lot of strategy around the way you've built your brand too. I think that you. No, I really do. I think that you have a real eye. I notice it. It's very unique. You do have to have massive strategy if you're launching product.
I think the strategy is so fun. I think planning and the strategy and the communication behind like the education piece of it. You can't just put out a product. So I see what you guys are doing, and I just think it's so cool. You take the customer on the journey, you educate them on the benefits, the pain points. Have you read the book Building a Brand Story?
Yes.
It's so good.
Weston makes me like do that activity.
What's it called?
It's like called Brand Story, I think.
Creating your brand story, and the hero and the villain and everything. That's a really good book if you haven't read it. But yeah, so tell me how you then decided to go into product. What was the thing?
I'm huge on content marketing.
Okay.
And I read a book, I think it's by Ryan Holiday, on content marketing, like probably 10 years ago. And I think anyone who is going to launch product needs to massively understand content marketing. So what I did is, because I blogged about so many different things, I was able to look to see what the audience liked through what I was talking about. So I'll give you an example. Say you are always talking about high heels, and you see that your audience is always, not even analytics, you can just feel the energy that they love high heels.
Yeah.
What I would do is, if I'm you, I would become a connoisseur of all different kinds of high heels. I would talk about it. I would talk about it for free. I wouldn't worry about money. And then maybe in 3 years, you launch the best high heels ever. So what I did is I talked about a lot of different things. I saw what was sticking. I saw what was needed. And then I saw that white space and I thought, how can I make it better? How can I make it prettier? Those are the two things that I asked myself. And the ice roller, to me, I mean, that's a whole story. I don't even know if you want to get into it, but that there was such a need for a Rolls Royce of ice rollers.
This came from your jaw surgery, right?
I had massive jaw surgery that was 16 hours long. And
why did you have jaw surgery?
My jaw was crooked, TMJ, grinding teeth.
Okay.
And
You had a jaw surgery that was how long?
16 hours. It was a huge jaw surgery.
Oh my God.
I thought
Were you in pain before? That's why you then had to have
pain isn't right. It was just uncomfortable. And I thought it was going to be, as everyone
does.
Like
an easy thing.
Not easy, but like just, we'll move it along. Yeah. I had a full identity crisis. I could not look in the mirror at myself for 2 years.
Oh my God.
It was horrible.
How old were you at this time?
I'm blogging at this time. So I'm probably like 26.
Wow.
I turned the camera on Michael. That's when people fell in love with Michael, because I didn't want to be, I was so
he has you to thank.
So he has everything about his career is because of me. And so I just was so swollen all the time. And the only thing that worked is ice rollers, but they were the shitty plastic ones that, it was everything wrong with it. I posted an ice roller and how it was working for my swelling. And all these girls, this is like 8 years ago, ran and bought all these plastic ice rollers.
Wow.
And so I saw that and I was like, And so I was not going to launch product until I knew in my bones.
Yeah.
And I think what we're seeing right now is a lot of influencer brands are going down because they're white labeling shit that they don't care about and there's no story.
Yeah.
When you launch something, there needs to be content marketing, a why. It needs to make sense to you. You can't just slap your name on a spritzer.
No.
And expect it to sell.
I think there's a lot of that. And I think a lot of like just throwing stuff out there, seeing what sticks. Whereas if you launch something that you really believe in with every inch of your being and you're sharing naturally anyway, I don't know, the customer really believes you. You take them on your own personal journey. And I just can't believe you went through all of that at 26. So when you were doing the podcast, you weren't being filmed. It was just Michael.
Not the podcast. This is so vintage. We were on Snapchat. The podcast didn't exist. And so I would normally film myself on Snapchat and Instagram. But when the jaw surgery happened, it was so bad and so jarring. And I mean, imagine looking at yourself in the mirror and you don't recognize yourself. It's a really big mind fuck. Like you're just like, I didn't know who I was.
How did you like mentally come back from that? Because obviously, like, we all like to look nice, you know, we're vain. People are vain. We want to feel good. We want to look our best. How did you come from being such a public figure going through all of that? How did you come back from that? Did you have to do things to keep your mental health in check every day? Or were you just being so supported by the people around you? How did that even come about?
I don't think that I was vocal to the people around me about how bad it was.
You just kept it in.
I kept it in. And I think that what it did to me, to be honest, is it humbled me.
Okay.
Because I was so used to, for so long, using my looks.
Yeah.
Because I'm a bartender, right? So I'm using my looks to get what I want and maneuver how I want. And then that happened to me. And it was so humbling. And I think it was like just very it was a good lesson of how not to lead with building. Your it's like stop leading with your looks. Lead with other things, your personality. Lead with that you're a good wife. Lead with you're a good friend. Like lead with character. And I think that it was really good for me looking back. And I also think I look back, it launched my product. So I mean, I don't have a bad feeling about it now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, completely. You've completely turned like a trauma into this positive thing. And is the ice roller your most popular product?
Right.
I mean, every product sells out, so I guess it's hard to gauge, but
it's a cult classic, I think. The ice roller, I think that they're like, people love it. And as they should, because it is the shit. I'm sorry. It's
you know what I love about it? It's the weight of it. I know that sounds really weird, but you need the spinny metal ice thing to be heavy.
Yes.
That's not out there. It's heavy. It does what it needs to do.
Yeah.
Honestly, it changes the shape of your face. I am so jet lagged right now. I haven't slept in like 5 days, and I've been like manically ice rolling my face in the hotel before.
You need to get like 2 and just go on both sides.
I know, seriously.
Or dunk your head in ice water. Listen, if people don't want to get the ice roller, go dunk your head in ice. You'll see the benefits are unreal.
Yeah.
We designed it after a dildo. So the weight that you're feeling is like it's a thick silicone, girthy, like it speaks for itself. So I am proud of that because it does do what it needs to do, which is depuff the face. But I will tell you, the mouth tape.
Oh, I love.
Is like people are intrigued by it, and so that's been surprisingly like crazy.
You guys have made mouth tape sexy.
That's, you know what? I feel like you and I are on the same frequency. That's
seriously, but you have, because mouth tape is the least sexy thing, and you've made it sexy. So it's so cool, and you've made it fun and intriguing, and people that weren't mouth taping suddenly want to mouth tape because it's cool. And it wasn't cool.
It is single-handedly the best beauty tip that I have ever discovered in my entire life. When you're supporting your jaw at night, your tongue posture is supported. And what that does is gravity ages your face. So if your face is hanging open, even if it's not hanging open and your tongue is rested, you are aging your face as you sleep.
Yeah.
So what I have found is by supporting my jaw and my tongue posture with mouth tape all night, it is sculpting and making this masseter muscle stronger. And it's really making the whole jawline strong. And what it essentially is, like, if you really want to get into it, is we used to eat hard foods. We used to eat like meat and chew it and eat it. And there's so many soft foods now. And our kids are eating soft foods that our muscles are not getting strong.
They're getting lazy.
And there's a book that just came out. I'm going to have her on the podcast called Beauty is in the Bones. And your bone structure is a beauty tip. And so to be able to support that all night, and yes, nasal breathing is the best thing for you and it gives you the most energy, but it also is such a good beauty tip.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
And the what do you call it? The launch that you guys shot was just so cool when you were in bed. I loved it.
It works so well. It's like, do not disturb, bitch.
It was so good. And it fit you guys so well. It was just so smart. How, I know that we have not that much long to go. So I just want to get this in. The wellness tip queen. Can you please give me, I mean, I know that you're probably so sick and tired of talking about your morning and evening routine. So just give me your favorite wellness tips that make you feel your best.
I know that everyone keeps saying this, but it does work so well. Cold plunge sauna. I mean, we talked about this.
Oh, yeah. It's incredible.
It does something to your nervous system. And my thing right now with wellness is I'm all about the nervous system.
Yeah.
How can I calm my nervous system? What you and I are doing right now is we're under bright lights. We're sort of performing in a way. You and I need to balance what we do to show up as we do with things that calm our nervous system. So cold plunge sauna, 100%. A cold shower, if you don't have a cold plunge, is great. I also love red light therapy, standing in front of the red light. I think you can habit stack it with breath work. Your app, meditation, like anything that you can do to calm it down. What I do, this is like my newest thing, is I'll sit outside in the morning and I'll listen to like your meditation. And for 5 minutes, I'll just massage my fascia. I stretch right here and I just massage like with beef tallow. I'll just massage my face.
With what?
Beef tallow.
Beef tallow. What is?
I'm going to send you the link.
Hang on. Beef
tallow.
Meat.
But it's like skincare packaged. So Primally Pure has a great beef tallow.
Oh. And you remember last time? I knew it was only a matter of time until we spoke about beef. Do you remember I was like, mince? And you were like, what? What's mince?
I'm going to eat some mince.
And you're like, oh, ground beef.
Mince. I love everything she says is like so like cute and chic. I'm like, my bowl of beef. Beef tallow on the skin has essential fatty acids. It's so incredible for the skin. But what I found is it's really nice for facial massage. And
I love facial massage.
If you want to lift this area, I just talked on a podcast about this. You want to stretch the fascia between your eye and your eyebrow bone. That's going to lift the eyes. And then you want to stretch above your eyebrow and your forehead. And I do this every morning. I'll listen to like one of your meditations and just massage, get the lymphatic system. I dry brush my neck. I just get it going. And I'll do this as I sit outside. So I'm drinking my water. I'm getting my facial massage. I'm sitting outside. I'm listening to a meditation. That takes it's 5 to 10 minutes. If you don't have 10 minutes to yourself, you don't have a life.
This is what we were saying. I was saying to Sarah, because her day is like giving to everyone else and pleasing everyone else. I'm like, you need to give yourself even just 20 minutes in the morning. It is such a game changer. I mean, people go on about this, but it really is. I can't imagine waking up, getting ready, going out the door. I would be such a different person Genuinely.
horrible for your nervous system.
Yeah.
And I think that, pay attention to how you feel. If you turn on the lights in the morning and you don't feel good, it's because you need some sunlight because your hormones are probably not liking that fake artificial light.
Yeah.
I think that you have to make it a point to have pockets through the day. So I got the best advice. This guy, Jesse Itzler, came on our podcast. He's married to the founder of Spanx, who obviously crushed it.
She's incredible.
I mean, amazing. And he said that they have this friend who's a billionaire. And the friend said the secret is to have 3 hours, not in a row, throughout your day to yourself. So this could mean that you take 15 minutes to meditate in the morning. You take 45 minutes to do your app. You take 20 minutes to take a walk. You take 20 minutes to do a sauna. But he has every day 3 hours that are to himself. And I honestly think that if I did not have that, I would not be able to play at the level I want to play at.
No.
It's not commendable to drain your entire battery. It's not, you have to have it.
Especially doing what you're doing and giving so much energy and interviewing and then being with the kids and being with Michael and being with all the guests. And it's a lot. You have to have that outlet. So yeah, thank you for that. I'm going to just give you some quick fire questions that I'm making up on the spot because I'm like, we're short of time.
Fire it away.
What is the book that changed your life?
I have a couple. The Daily Stoic, all about stoicism and controlling what you can control and not trying to control what's around you. Daily Laws by Robert Greene. It's all about human nature, seduction, the laws of power. And it's really great because you can put it on Audible and just listen to it wherever you are, or you can read a page a day. It's digestible.
Yeah.
And the last one, by far, you and I have talked about this. What do you think I'm going to say?
Either
I think you
Atomic Habits or Feel the Fear.
You Can Heal Your Life.
Oh, or the Louise Hay. Yeah.
Louise Hay.
Incredible. Heal your life, heal your mind, heal your body, whatever she's healing, we're reading.
There's this one that I found that's like in the archives. I almost text you this, but I'm like, is this obsessive? It's called The Totality of Possibility. And it's about it's like $1 on Audible. It's about being open-minded to the possibility and things that don't exist right now will exist in the future. So if you can expand your mind to be so open and positive and harmonious, you will discover things that aren't even around right now.
Yeah.
And I think she's so expansive in her way.
She's incredible. I mean, if you haven't read her books, you just have to, like, everyone needs to read. It's as much Louise Hay. You have
to be a student of it too. Like you keep going back to it because you forget.
And it's also so soothing. I find the way that she writes her books so calming. It's like comforting. Beautiful. You feel like hopeful.
And she talks about how each illness can start from something.
Yes, yeah.
Like she had cervical cancer and she was sexually molested when she was little, and she believes it's really
fascinating.
It's fascinating. And she's passed now, but I think that her idea of monitoring the way you think is genius. And this kind of brings it full circle to when you were on our podcast. You said that you woke up one morning and you started monitoring what you were doing and how you could do it better.
Yeah.
And the awareness in that changed your life.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, last question. What is your workout routine?
My workout routine is this.
I love it because a lot of people will be like, oh, it's different. I know that you have a clear routine day by day to tell me.
I have to have it in my calendar. I am not someone who's naturally super slim. I have to work for it, which has been another great learning experience because life is reps.
Yeah.
My workout routine is 4 days a week weights. And then on the other days, I'm either doing P-Volve, Melissa Wood, or your app. I love your app. I already texted you about it.
I love you.
I like the energy of those 3 workouts to mix it up.
To mix with the weight. So you're doing some form of low impact Pilates style. Okay.
Yes. And I just signed up once a week for a classical Pilates teacher.
Oh, I'm so happy you did this. Do you love it?
I love your app. I think your app too, just seriously on the go when you're traveling, and I will take a towel and just lay down and that's it.
Yeah, it's so good. Like if you're in a hotel, you can literally just roll out of bed in your pajamas and just get it done.
That's what I did the other day. I had slippers on.
So good.
And your voice is so soothing. I put it on and it's there's 20 minutes, 15 minutes. It's amazing. And my kids are running around, but you can just do it.
Yeah.
I think what you've created is incredible.
Thank
it's accessible.
You.
And I think it's the perfect medley to weights.
Yes, I agree. And actually I've started introducing weights and I love it. I love strength training.
It's changed my body composition. It's not even about the weight.
No.
It's I'm fitting into jeans that
just get tighter.
It's just shrink wraps you.
Yeah, it does.
But
that's the perfect
Pilates with it.
Yeah, the combination is 100%, and then doing your daily walks. Well, thank you so much. This was so fun. I can't believe how quickly that went.
Well, I'm going to have you on our podcast. We're kicking Michael off.
I know. I'm so excited.
And I would also tell your audience, if you have not, which I'm sure you have, go listen to you on our podcast because that episode was definitely one of my favorites.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome.